Hey, what's good? What's good with y'all, man? Thawahgabar for Black Authentic Truth. As you read, we're going to talk about Officer Tatum, generational trauma, fatherless homes, and also brotherhood. I got a few clips we can go through, some things that I think Black people can learn from, perspective Black people can learn from, as always. You know, always going to go into it. All right. Let me make sure we good. Check this. Check my audio real quick. Testing. We good. Perfect. Excellent. Excelente. We on. All right. So like I always start off with my Sundays, I just want to ask everybody, how is your Sunday going? Listen, the last week and a half, maybe it's been a nasty heat wave out here in Southern California. But it seems like it's getting a little cooler, perfect weather. I mean, not perfect weather, but perfect weather for the beach. And yeah, so most likely, I look forward to today later on going out with my family. I got some family that's from Louisville, Kentucky. Renee Gaines that always be tapping in. My sister. I got, my other sister from Vegas, and some other people, brothers and sisters, and hopefully I'll be with them later on, and we'll be somewhere at a beach enjoying the weather. We're enjoying that cool breeze that come off the ocean. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to everybody that's rocking with me. I appreciate it. I know I'll be sporadic as far as me posting and me like really, being consistent. Like I said, YouTube always be hitting me with all these flags and stuff. And that was probably that's been like about 5 months ago. YouTube had they had demonetized me. Not it's not like I was making any money from YouTube, but I'm just saying they just hit me with so many restrictions over videos. I remember I did a video about Candace Owens, and I think it was talking about Jewish people, right? And she was just bringing out some truth, and they took that video down. They didn't just hit me with it, flag me. They took the video down. They didn't give me an opportunity to take the video down. And of course, when you're talking about those people, you can't never say nothing, even if it's truth. You know what I mean? And I was just using Candace Owens as an example. But yeah, man, we're gonna get into it. I got some clips, got some good clips to go over. Shout out to everybody. Like I said, once again, Madana, Sister Barata now. I know some other people up in here. Shout out to y'all too. I'm a put his first clip. Now, this went viral in the last few days with Tatum and I think it was some Tatum is a conservative, and then it was some liberals that was battling him on Pierce Morgan's show. And this clip you probably seen. I know I posted it. I responded to one of the clips that I clipped up, and I posted it on the page. So I know you've seen me react to it, but I want to go over there's a little more. I want to go a little more in depth in it because I see some other things, some other points that could be made with what Tatum was saying. That's why I called him a pick me. Everybody knows when it comes to just these black people, these types of black people. And I would say Tatum is like next in line because it used to be Candace Owens until Candace Owens spoke about Jewish people. It was fine when Candace Owens was talking about black people. When she spoke about Jewish people, they was like, oh, hell no. The Daily Wire let her go. But Tatum is supposed to be next in line. But you see, it's a lot of these type of black people that pop up because they see that it's a big audience that would applaud them and follow them. And I'm talking about a conservative white audience or a MAGA type audience, right? If you don't know who I am and you've been rocking with me, I'm not political at all. You know, liberal, conservative, Republican, Democrat, don't matter to me. You know what I'm saying? It's like Crips and Bloods to me. It is not the answer that's going to actually fix black people. But Tatum is that person and love Charlie Kirk, cried when Charlie Kirk passed away. Wasn't even invited to Charlie Kirk's funeral, but he capped the most, for Charlie Kirk. But yeah, let me get this. Once again, we are live in full effect. And I just want to say, if I sound kind of sluggish, I had an excellent day yesterday. Was out with family. It was a beautiful day. A dope experience. I had fun. Basically a family reunion, right? People I haven't seen in years and stuff like that. So I just had a full pack day yesterday and just had so much fun. And I turned it in early. And then because I'm such a morning person, I'm such a light sleeper, I woke up in the middle of the night. So I've been up. I've been up. So I'm feeling that. I'm feeling that level of you start to feel drowsy. When it comes to like not getting a lot of your adequate sleep, they say it's almost the same as being drunk. You know what I mean? But I'm not drunk, but I'm just saying, just if I seem a little sluggish and what, I'm trying to keep the energy, y'all. I'm trying to do my best. I'm putting on my best act, okay? Putting on my best act. Let me get this clip.
Brandon, Charlie Kirk said black men like you were better off during slavery. Do you agree with him?
Now, listen, 100%.
You believe 100%?
Now what? Wait,
you were
after
better off
slavery. Let me explain, because maybe you don't know black history. No. You don't understand black history, and you don't understand what Charlie was saying. Listen, after slavery, there was an explosion of success in the black community. We had Black Wall Street. We were married to the women we had children with. Black people had a tremendous amount of success. Our success was growing faster than white people during that period of time.
Let me just say this. What he's saying right here is true. Now, this other guy started off by saying, Charlie Kirk said it would have been better off for you to be in slavery. And he said he agreed with it, which is crazy, right? That's crazy. That's why I talk about, you in a whole nother sunken place as a black person. That's like totally delusional. But he goes on to explain himself and break down the fact that right after slavery, black people were doing better than white people, which is true. Anybody can go fact check this. Anybody can go, I pride myself on being a historian. I don't know everything, but I know that much about our people. Many of y'all already know that too, because many of y'all, how many times have you heard black people talk about Black Wall Street? He mentioned Black Wall Street. Black people are very well acquainted with Black Wall Street and how great we were, at that time period. Now, I can tell you about other places, Weeksville, and in the Crown Heights area of New York. This is just off the top of my head. Slocum, Texas. Of course, everybody knows about Rosewood. There are, a plethora of, that's a big word. There's a plethora, there's many towns that were built after slavery, and black people were doing exceptionally good. So that's not a lie. So he's saying that's what Charlie Kirk was saying. Charlie Kirk was saying that, and Charlie Kirk was quoting Thomas Sowell. If you don't know who Thomas Sowell is, he is a conservative economist. He is a very smart man, but most people will look at him, you know, either he's a very smart man or he's an Uncle Tom type, you know what I mean, conservative, right? But he learned that from Thomas Sowell, who, you know, learned this information from a book written by, I believe it was Hubert Good. I have the book. It's just Hubert Goodman Hubert. Anyway, it's the history of the black people coming right out of slavery. And it shows how black people, you know, they stayed together. Black men and black women stayed together 50 years. When say a black woman was a widow, she wouldn't remarry. The family was so good and so tight. And so during the period between the 20s and all the way up into integration, what happened was you were more likely to see two-parent households and black families. They were doing good monetary, like as far as financially, almost in a lot of cases better than white people. And that's what he is saying right here. But he mentioned Black Wall Street as talking about the greatness that we had. And I want you to remember that. He mentioned Black Wall Street. I'm going to keep going.
Tom, now look at us. Now go look at any inner city in this country, and you see people getting murdered every weekend. The leading cause of murders in this country is by black people. Violent crimes, black people. Abortion.
That is not true. The leading cause of murders is by white people. Okay. Now, do black people kill at a higher rate? Yes. Because it wouldn't make sense in your mind to say that black people is doing all of this killing and we're only 12% of the population. So what they like to do is the per capita argument, where it says every 100,000 people per 100,000 people, right? And so what they do is say, okay, because you're a smaller amount of people, you're killing at a higher rate. You're committing crimes at a higher rate. You can also flip that argument, but they never do per capita. You can flip the argument, since we are the smallest population, you can flip it towards what happens when our dealings with law enforcement. Black people get killed at a higher rate because you're a smaller percentage of people. So, but that don't really mean anything, but that's just a way to take the accountability off of white folks. To say, well, you're killing at a higher rate. What about raw numbers? You're number one. Can't nobody beat you because there are more of you, but you're still number one. Okay, so that wasn't true what he said.
At disproportionate rates, black people. A lot of things that were going well in our communities is going downhill fast after the 60s. And it's because we've been voting for these sorry Democrats.
So he's talking about integration. He said everything, all of the greatness that we had in our community, it went downhill after the 60s, after integration. So it's two things here. First of all, he talked about the greatness of, he used the example of Black Wall Street to say how good black people were doing compared to how we're doing now. This is something, okay, this is something we all know. And he's bringing it up to make a point. He's bringing it up to make the point of how terrible the black community is right now compared to back then. But they never, ever talk about what happened to Black Wall Street. Black Wall Street was burnt down to the ground, razed to the ground, destroyed to the ground. Bombs dropped on Black Wall Street by white people. They never talk about the over 100 massacres committed by white people on black people during this period of self-sufficiency and prosperity. They never talk about it. You want to bring up how great we were. You want to bring up about how, like, what happened? What happened? You want to talk about the greatness. Be honest about what actually happened to all that greatness. Be honest about it. Be honest about Rosewood. Be honest about Black Wall Street. Be honest about what's the Lake Lanier. Be honest about the New York Jazz Riots. Be honest about the over 100 massacres committed on black people by white people. Be honest about the bombings, the burnings of homes. the destruction of property, the stealing, the taking of property. Be honest about that. You want to know what happened to it? Let's start there first. Let's be honest let's have an honest conversation. But see, when we start talking like that, is you're playing the victim. You know, but you can say that to make your point about how great we were. Yeah, but let's make the other point about why a lot of these towns that Black people built from the ground up during segregation disappeared. You feel me? So he made that point. Then this is the second part to the point he made. He said, because you got to think, these people think politically minded. So he's going to say, he said up until the 60s, meaning integration. And if you go look at his interview, he kind of went in even more and, you know, talked about following Martin Luther King into his form of integration. Like, it didn't matter who Black people follow into integrating. It would have still been the same outcome. But the point I'm making is that when you look at our people from the time of slavery up until the civil rights movement and integration, what you see is us going downhill. Okay, there's a downhill trajectory. Like, we're like, after slavery, we're moving up, and then during integration, we're moving down, and we're moving down as far as the morality of our people, two-parent households, and a lot of it has to do with us following the people we integrated with. So you had all of these movements, the gay movement, women's liberation, you know, so many different movements, and we followed those ideologies also. Okay, then you had by us integrating, you had a thing where United States government put drugs in our communities. You don't really see the type of violence you see in urban areas with Black people, not until after the civil rights movement and integration. So we're on a downward trajectory, and we're worse than we ever were, which is true. But let's look at the factors. And so deep down, the hidden message in all of this is that when somebody is talking like this, what you got to understand is what they're really saying is that Black people were better when they were segregated. That's the truth. That's the truth. That I'm gonna keep it real. That's what people really are saying. If you're going to say that, if you want to point out how great we were before integration and then say we're messed up after integration, you can't say that we're just messed up because we're natural born criminals, or we just it's genetics we can't get right. You can't say that. You have to look at the factors and the things that affected us, and it also affected, you know, us financially, from an education standpoint, all of that. You got to factor in all of that. You can't just make it seem like, oh, Black people were doing good at this time, and then they're not doing good. What happened? You can't do that. You gotta really be real with the information and with the history. You gotta be honest and forthcoming with the information and the history, straight up. So at the end of the day, there's multiple factors of why we are the way we are. But you know, it is what it is. What's your thoughts? What's your thoughts on it? Because I look at it like this, like, they always saying that. They always say, you know, you have a people that's always pointing a finger at Black people and saying you need to get right. You're the most violent people and all of this. This wasn't always the case. Okay, if we were, I don't believe that. You know, I don't believe. You know, I don't believe that shit. Excuse my language. I don't believe that. But if you're going to say that, then let's think about what's the causes. Why? How did it get here? It wasn't always like this. So what is the causes? What caused this to happen? Let's look into these things instead of just accusing, pointing a finger at Black people. So no one actually looks at what you got going on, or looks at the crime you commit, looks at the horrible things you are doing in your community. Let's look at that. Like, they're so, you know, full of trying to put blame on Black people that if you ask these people, what are the statistics on white crime in any category, They wouldn't know because they're too focused on black people. And if you really think about it, it's like this. It's kind of like, as a black person, as a black man, why do I care? Why do I care about white on white crime? It doesn't affect me. It's white on white. It's two white people doing something. If I heard about it, okay, it's a story, but it doesn't affect me. It's not something I have to look out for. So I don't have anything to gain from trying to pay attention or trying to point out, oh, look at white people. Look at it. They always doing that. I don't have nothing to gain from that. And I'm saying this in reverse. Now think of how they do. That is their number one thing they stand on is black on black crime. Why do you even care? It's not affecting you. Why are you even trying to make it, like it's a problem to you? As if you actually care to see black people, be better morally, be law-abiding citizens, and they'll lose their mind if all of a sudden every urban area had no crime. They such devils, they'll go and make some crime. They'll go and fabricate something to be like, see, look at those niggas. That's just my thoughts. You know what I mean? It is what it is, but Tatum is, he's saying what he's saying, but look, that ain't nothing that black people ain't never said. He's quoting Charlie Kirk, and everybody said, why Charlie Kirk always trying to tell black people, explain to them how good they were doing in back in those days. We already know that. You ain't got to explain anything. Black people are always bringing up, stories, the history of our greatness. I'm always seeing somebody post something I never knew. Black people, we know our history. We don't need a white man trying to tell us how great we were and how bad our people are today. And that's his hero. That's why I said he's a pick-me. And, when you get the MAGA behind you, you basically are delusional, because as a black person, you can't, you would think a black person can't believe the stuff they be saying. And these are black people talking like white supremacists. But when you have a following, you have a delusional following, you have a delusional country, can't nobody tell you anything until they hit you real hard. Now, I remember when he first started supporting Israel, what ended up happening is a lot of his followers was calling him all kind of monkeys and all kind of stuff, because they turned on you quick, like they turned on Candace Owens. The thing about it is this, even you see this with Candace Owens, the thing about it is this, when stuff hits the fan, you can't come back to the black community. You see how black people is with Candace, they like, can't come back. Even though you talking that good stuff now, you can't come back. You can't, all of the, because you remember she was going in on Black Lives Matter. She was going in on George Floyd, saying he didn't die from the knee on his neck. He died from a fentanyl overdose. Oh man. And those MAGA people still say that to this day. Oh, he died from a fentanyl overdose, which is, as black folks, we looking at another black person say something like that. It's like, yeah, you ain't gonna be able to come back. You know what I mean? Can't come to the barbecue. None of that. But if you're gonna say things about, black people, let's look at everything. Let's look at all the factors. He said a lot, but he brought up Black Wall Street. I'm just recapping, y'all. He brought up Black Wall Street, but he didn't say who burned it to the ground. He didn't say that. He didn't bring up that point. What happened to it? So yeah, man, that's crazy to me. That's crazy to me. But we always got to correct the record, because people are always going to be saying stuff about history and trying to change up history and make it look a certain kind of way. Nah, keep it real, keep it funky, keep it how it actually happened. You can't go over all the stuff that we accomplished, but they try to do that. And they just point at what the current situation is. There's always a cause and effect. You know what I'm saying? If I see a man that's homeless on the streets, I can't look at him like he's always been homeless, or look at him like, why is he homeless? Oh man, you know how people do. They look at a homeless person and they look at a homeless person like the homeless person wants to be homeless. And like he's like that because that's who he is. That's not a fair assessment. That's not fair to do that with any situation and with anybody, because you don't know what happened in his life 10 years ago that made him homeless. I ran into a homeless person that was a Vietnam vet. I ran into a homeless person that used to be like a biochemical scientist, something like you got to go to school, college for. You never know who you're talking to when they're homeless, but you can't judge them on their current state. You got to see everything that happened in the past of their life to know how they are in the present. That's the same way with Black people. I'm done, y'all. I've been talking a lot on that topic. Let me drop this. Let's get this next one. This one is sad, but it's something to gain from it. Okay. Let me edit that much. Now, let me see. How can I? This one is sad. All right. I'm gonna keep it real. But there's something to learn from it.
على ايش؟ ايش نفسك قلتي؟ ايش نفسك قلتي؟ ليش؟ ليش؟
تريح
من ايش؟
من المية وخلاص نقلت المية.
So this is a video of a Palestinian little girl. This girl said she wished to die. He said, why? She said, so I can rest from this world. So I can rest. And she said, because of all of the flooding and all of, everything that's going on. I said, damn, like, but it gives you perspective. It makes you understand that this is something like people, like trauma is very real. And trauma can drive a person to want to die. If you're experiencing trauma every day of your life, it can make you want to die. This is a little girl, Palestinian girl. Listen, I'm an Israelite. I only love my people. And when I say I love my people, it's about me getting back to how I'm supposed to be. But I'm also a human being that has compassion. And when I hear this child saying with a smile on her face, saying she wants to die because she wants rest from this world, I mean, I don't know. I don't even have no words for it. That's horrible. That's terrible. Let's keep it real. That's terrible. You know what I mean? And it's because of all of the war that she has seen in her young life, the terrorism she has experienced in Palestine her whole life. You know what I mean? It's just, it's a terrible thing. And I thought about Black people. Now you talk about that conflict out there. That conflict has been going on since 1948. And it's been, back and forth, war, peace, of course, racism amongst each other with these two groups. And I thought about Black people and I said, well, that type of trauma can produce the same thing in anybody. You want to die, or dysfunction gets passed down through another generation. This is already a scientific fact. I ain't got to go into it. If you've been rocking with me, I've talked about this. But you look at, when you think about in our community, you think about, let's just say the young brothers, right? The young brothers, misguided from different hoods. I'm in Southern California, but it's a ghetto everywhere. Different hoods, living that life. and already has it in their mind like, this is what I signed up for. Yeah, I know I can get killed. If I get killed, so be it. And it's like, when you look at a lot of our youth, even the ones that's in the industry that rap about you killing and everything, it's like, you're ready to die. It's like, okay, I'm in this. This is what I signed up for. It's either death or in prison. I know what could happen, but my future is set. My life is set. This is my life. And when I seen this with this little girl, I was just like, damn, I've seen this before. I said, I've seen this before. I've seen people ready to die. I've seen people that live that life, and it's not it's not what I was gonna say. It's not, you're not riding off happily ever after in the sunset. You know it. Now, I've seen when people want to live too, that were in that life, where they break out of that life, or they exposed to something else that opens their eyes to real life, and then they like, you know what, those people typically, they move out of the hood. They get away to another environment so that they can start to actually live how we all are supposed to live, with a sober mind and stuff like that. But I just thought this was just so sad, because I said, man, I've seen this before. Like, they're in a place where it's war torn, where you don't know if a drone is going to come and blow you up, or a missile is going to hit your house, and it's every damn day. And so a child is just like, you know what? I'll be happy to die. I'll be happy to leave this place. I've seen my friends die. Their family got blowed up. My father is gone. I don't know if I'm going to make it to the age I'm going to make it to. And I thought about where I was at when I was 13. She's younger than 13. She's 8. I thought where I was at 13. At the age of 13, this the 90s, I used to think like, and some of y'all around my age, y'all definitely know this. Y'all know this to be true. I used to think that by the age of 20, 21, I would be dead, just because of what I would see. I hadn't chose up to be in a gang or nothing. I just felt like that's my life. That's the life of a young black male. And that's just from me observing, the ghetto. So yeah, I don't know. I just wanted to bring this story up. It's not nothing in specific, but man, it's so heavy to hear a child say they're just ready to die. That just blew my mind. Like, and she said it with a smile, and she's like, I won't rest. That's somebody's soul speaking. You feel me? That's a let me play it one more time before I wrap.
على ايش؟ ايش نفسك قلتي؟ ايش نفسك قلتي؟
اموت.
ليش؟ ليش؟
ستريح.
من ايش؟
من المية وخلاص ونقلت المية.
That's crazy. And he said, you wish to die? She said, yeah, with a smile on her face. Like, I would be happy to leave this earth. It don't matter who you is. Like, it don't matter what where you from. That should strike you. Like, damn, you ready to die. But we don't know that we've seen this before. It just comes out in a different way. Somebody ready to die that don't care about their life, don't care about what they do, what affects other people. They just ready. They're on a crash course to die. All of the decisions that they're making is decisions that a smart, or should I say an intelligent person who wants to live would not make. And they're making all of these decisions purposely till the wheels fall off. All right. That's it on that. Let me get to this next clip. This next clip is about brotherhood, okay? Which I thought I should talk about, because that's what I talk about as an Israelite. Talk about brotherhood and treating brothers how you want to be treated. So this is a clip between Adrian Bonner and what's his name, Blueface. So he, Adrian Bonner, he's with the other brother right now. They've been live streaming, and so he had a problem with alcohol, right? And he, at one point in time, he was a champion boxer, but I can't remember the other brother's name. The other brother started putting him on live streams, like showed some real brotherhood, started putting him on live streams. And now, he getting back in shape and he doing his thing. And so Blueface's ex, Krishan, she want to go on live stream with him, but he wasn't sure. So he called Blueface to see if it was okay. So here's a clip.
She want to come on stream.
Bro,
She want to come on stream.
bro, that's not my baby mama. You asking for my permission?
Yeah, I mean, bro, it's just, I know y'all have relations, I just don't be knowing the ins and outs.
Yeah, that's one of my exes though. But nah, you could. I got a girlfriend. You could date them if you want.
So yeah, Blueface said whatever he said. You can date her anyway, but he was tripping like the fact that, oh, you calling me to ask permission? Like, nah, I'm not with her no more. And Adrian Bronner was just like, I wasn't for sure. I just want to make sure. I know y'all had a relationship. I'm just calling because she want to come on stream with me. You know what I'm saying? The point I want to make about this is actually how men should do it. This is actually how a man should do it. Like, if you're going to be dealing with a woman, right? If you meet a woman, right, and you're talking to this woman and you say, okay, when was the last time you was in a relationship? And she said, the last time I was in a relationship was 4 months ago, 6 months ago, 10 months ago. How long was the relationship? Oh, it lasted 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. Oh, okay. Would you mind if I talk to that man and make sure that he's completely through with you? That's something you never heard of before. But that's real brotherhood. And it's so manly, because what ends up happening is that man, you call a brother and say, hey, man, I met your ex, you know what I'm saying? She's saying y'all was in a relationship just 4 or 5 months ago, and y'all done. I just want to make sure if you actually done with her, right? If it's a clean slate. And that man would actually respect you. Like, that's respectful, you know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, you never know when people are done, and then people's emotions could carry on 6 months to a year after people done broke up. So real brotherhood would be really finding out and getting to the bottom of something before you really commit to a woman, and you don't know if this man still has feelings and he's gonna come back in the picture. So that's some real man stuff right there. That's some real man stuff that the world don't see. The world ain't even used to that. Hell, men ain't even used to telling women the truth. Like, I got some kids over here, or I got another woman. We ain't even got to that place yet with, men being honest about that. You know what I'm saying? So, but being honest and forthcoming and forthright and just tell another brother, like, listen, man, I'm feeling there. I know y'all was in a relationship. Is you still dealing with her, or what's the deal? If he is, you can cut your losses. If not, you can move forward with that relationship. But it just shows a level of respect that we haven't seen. And that's the level of respect that comes from the righteousness of the Bible. Like, you got to really be a righteous person. And we got to be a righteous people and a respectful people also. You know what I mean? Because I know, I don't take this the wrong way, but a lot of things can look like they look, and they're not really that. So you just want to be clear and move in a way where you retain your respect, and people will respect you for how you move and how you deal with them. I thought that was really cool to see that. You know what I mean? Because you rarely don't see that. You'll never really see nothing like that. But that was pretty dope. That was pretty dope. You know. And so this last clip, I know y'all heard the story of the mother that unalived the 20-year-old that stuck in her house and was with her daughter, her 13-year-old. So I'm gonna get that story. Let me just grab it real quick. Let me grab that story. Screenshot this. Screenshot. I always say screenshot. Screen share.
Under her child's bed early yesterday morning. WREG's Caitlin Barker is live in the neighborhood where the shooting took place with the latest on what happened. Caitlin?
Good afternoon, Stephanie. This shooting took place here at around 1:40 a.m. and it happened at this home right across from me on Travis Road. Now, this all happened after a mother found a man in her house. She says he was hiding under a child's bed. When police arrived, they found the man dead near the front porch. Now, the woman, 36-year-old Kendra Scott, now faces multiple charges, including first-degree murder and employment of a firearm during the commission of a dangerous felony. The man who was shot has now been identified as Redarius Morton. According to police, Morton was invited by a child to the home and came in through the back door at 1 a.m. The arrest affidavit says when Kendra Scott came home, she was heard banging on the front door and yelling, "Who's at my house?" Once the child opened the door, Morton was found hiding under the child's bed. As Morton was leaving the house, both Scott and Morton went out to the front porch, and that's when the juvenile says she heard a gunshot. Morton was found shot in the back of the head. Now, I spoke with one neighbor who says he feels bad for everyone involved.
For the child, since her mama going to jail, the boy family, since he was walking away, and I guess I feel bad for the mama. She should have thought more.
Now, I spoke to multiple neighbors who say that in this case, nobody wins. Now, we're actively working to confirm the age of the man that was involved and the juvenile, and we'll have more on that at 10 p.m. tonight. I'm Caitlin Barker reporting live for your news leader,
Oh man, that's a rough one. And like I said, nobody wins. Yeah, nobody wins in that situation. And I gotta say this, you said sister Mrs. Yeah, Miss said the mother got to be black, I'm sure. Yeah, everybody involved is black and the mother is in jail. I just wanted to say, because they said nobody wins, and I will say off top, learning that there's no picture. I didn't have a picture. They didn't put one in there of the young man and the daughter. They put a picture of the mother, but learning that he was 20 years old, okay, the daughter was 13 years old. It looks like everyone is to blame in this situation, okay? Because he's 20 years old. He shouldn't have been there with a 13-year-old. The 13-year-old shouldn't have called him and brought him to her house, and the mother should not have executed him by shooting him in the back of the head. Now, I read somewhere where they said that the daughter said to the police, after it happened, the daughter said to the police that her mother did say that the next boy she catch at the house, she gonna put a hole in him. So they hitting the mother with, a murder charge because he was leaving the house, walked out the house, and she shot him in the back of the head, that's terrible, because she couldn't control her emotions. And then I seen somewhere where people were saying that he had to climb up to get in the house. You shouldn't be climbing. And then it showed the house. The house was just one story. So he just went through the window. But it's obvious that the mother had been having these issues before with her daughter, because she was telling her, "I'll catch another boy, I'm going to put a hole in him." And the daughter knew this. Okay. So like I said, everybody is at fault in this situation. There's, like they said, there's no winners in this situation, because now this 20-year-old young man is unalive. The mother is going to jail for a long time, prison for a long time, and the daughter is going to be a ward of the state. And you heard, I mean, I'm not saying it like that, but what is the chances of the daughter was already uncontrollable and being fast? What's the chances of her being rehabilitated once you become a ward of the state, or you end up in foster care? Not saying that it's impossible, but you know, it's just a messed up situation all the way around. Yeah, it's just a messed up situation all the way around. And who knows? You don't know that. We don't know the real story, like her arguing, telling him to leave, or if he was talking back to her, or if he was just trying to get up out of there and just hoping like he can get home, and she shot him in the back of the head. We don't know. We just know that this is a real tragic situation. But one thing that I can tell you, okay? One thing I can tell you this is I seen the picture of the 20-year-old. He looked very small, very short, and he looked like he could be a 17-year-old. I'm not excusing him, you know, going to that home with that 13-year-old. And let me just say this. Let me go back. Let me just backtrack, because I've done that before. Not with no young person, but I'm just saying I done snuck in a girl's. Like, I know plenty of people done did that. Like, I didn't do nothing with a girl, but I remember sneaking into a girl, and I was hella scared because she had a father, and she was just like, it'll be okay. It was very dumb of me. You know what I mean? Very dumb, very stupid and ignorant. But I think I was like 8th grade going to the 9th grade. You know what I'm saying? But I've seen stories where I've seen people comment and say that they did that before, you know, snuck in, you know, we know how it goes. And, you know, when you're young and dumb and foolish, the things you can do. Now, this brother was 20 years old. So he knows right from wrong. He knew right from wrong. Unfortunately, his wrong actions cost him his life. The daughter, at 13 years old, you know right from wrong too. And then you got a mother that's on your head telling you, the next time I catch a boy, I'm gonna put a hole in him. She knew right from wrong. And then the mother, she shot him. She didn't have to do that. She could have went to the authorities. She could have found out who he was, his connections, his family, through her daughter. Obviously, her daughter talking to him on text messages or something. She could have found out who he was, went to his mother, got the police involved, all of that. Her emotions was just too high. And she pulled that trigger, and I'm guarantee you, the minute she pulled that trigger, she regretted it. She regretted it. And another thing, if she was knowing these things, I'm thinking, why didn't you just set up? What it says that she came home banging on the door, who in my house? So I don't know how she would know that, and she probably did have a camera. But if she did have a camera, like, you know, those cameras, like a Ring camera, you can talk to it. Why not just tell your daughter, listen, I know somebody in the house, he better be gone when I get home from work. You know, she went in there like she was going to do what she was going to do regardless. I don't know that part of the story. How did she know somebody was in her house? It don't tell. There's no details. We don't know. I don't know. I'm just speculating. But before I speculated that, I was going to say, like, why not just get some cameras so you know what your daughter doing? Obviously, she's fast. Obviously, at 13 years old, she's having different dudes come through the house. Come on now. But the point that I want to make about this, the sister said, it's just sad. Just tell the girl, if you don't want to listen to me, you have to go to CPS. I'm here for you and I love you and want the best. Just listen to me, right? Sometimes you have a child that you can't deal with. That's true. Sometimes you may have a child you can't deal with in their temperament. They don't listen. They're rebellious, especially when you get around the age of 13, 14, 15. You think you know everything. You starting to get physically, you're starting to grow up physically. You know what I'm saying? As far as your parts, and you think you know it all, and you think you've grown, and can't nobody tell you anything. But all of this stuff starts when you're young. You know, all of this stuff, like from sons to daughters, it starts when you're young. And it's very clear, like I was about to say before I backtrack, is that in this situation, from both ends, a man and the home could have really, really prevented this. A father, not saying he didn't have one, but a father to that 20-year-old young man, and the father in the household over that 13-year-old girl, and controlling the situation with that mother. Now, hell, maybe you could have been an emotional father that shot him in the back. I don't know, but I'm just saying it typically, well, in general, a father would have prevented this situation. In general, a father would have, having a strong male presence, not even a father, a brother, an uncle. Imagine if that girl had a brother, he ain't putting up with that. He like, nah, ain't no nigga coming up in here. You know what I mean? You know how brothers be. They're like, nah, you ain't no brother. Ain't nobody come in. Just a strong male presence. And then the 20-year-old man, he needed a strong male presence also to make the right decisions. That bad decision cost him his life. And now that bad decision of the mother cost her life. And everybody's life is just messed up. Everybody's life is just, it's in shambles. The ones that are still here walking the earth, mother and daughter, right? So, yeah. So I appreciate everybody for rocking with me through this whole thing. You know what I mean? Next week I'll have some Black history. We'll get into Black history. I've been, doing research and studying the history of the white man, and so I can present some good history, some good facts about who white people that today as Europeans, descendants of Europeans, who they really are. Okay. I appreciate all of y'all for rocking with me. And like I said, I'll be back next weekend. Thank y'all. Hope y'all enjoy the rest of y'all day. This is Thawahgabar for Black Authentic Truth. I'll see y'all next time. Love you. Peace. All right. This is Black Authentic Truth.